Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alfany. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you could, please click that like button, turn it into a rocket, and send it to the stratosphere. So I'm on Celo.org, and I am reading their CBDC white paper. Remember, I told you Celo also was positioning itself for CBDCs. They redid their entire business structure. As far as the people who are working for them, they have very powerful people now at the head of Celo. They're going to start making some big moves in the year to come. They're just building right now. They brought in a lot of very brilliant minds. You can look this up. Brilliant minds that are going to be making major moves that were already tied into financial institutions. And I have no doubt that they're going to try to utilize some of that leverage and bring in some of those institutions, which means that Celo is going to be utilized, and based upon its functionality and the amount that it could be used and the amount of Celo that's available, it's very easy for that price to go up. It's very easy for that price to go up with Celo. Look at its circulating supply. It doesn't take a lot, which means that holders of Celo could theoretically, if it's instituted as a central bank digital currency, or if it's used by large institutions, financial institutions, and they flood it with any type of money, that price might stand to take off faster than most. Look at their circulating supply. That is key. Now, here in their central bank digital currency white paper, let's take a look at this, this very interesting tidbit, if you will, titled "Making the Velocity of Money Practical." And here we go. It says, one of the most theoretical notions in monetary economics is perhaps that of money velocity. As Higgins, 1978, reminds us, the current method of understanding the velocity of money is only an abstraction. It is impossible to trace each dollar and count the number of times it is used to finance expenditures. Now, keep this in mind, and remember what I said in the previous video about how one of the most tempting aspects of a central bank digital currency, and why I believe it definitely will be utilized and definitely will be implemented. Why do I have to clarify that and say that? Because so many people from the United States Fed, not the Boston Fed, but the United States Fed, right, apart from the Boston Fed, have been putting FUD out there that maybe a central bank digital currency is not needed. No, it is definitely needed, as people from the Boston Fed have stated, as the Bank of International Settlements has said, as the European, the International Monetary Fund has said, Christine Lagarde and notable individuals as such have promoted. But one of the aspects that makes it so tempting is the fact that now you can trace where each dollar goes. You can know the number of times it was used to finance expenditures, and even going further, if they choose to take it this far, they can know what it was used for, which gives them a view into possible illegal activities or the prevention of those central bank digital currencies, or let's just call it a currency, right? Keeping it from being utilized for illegal activities. That is very tempting to them. Information is power. And institutions, governments, central banks want to know as much information as they can. Information is also control. They can control more. That makes business go smoother. That brings in more money. They know how to access different people, different pools of revenue. With information, you can sort of manifest almost anything that you desire as an institution, as a business, even as an individual, based on how much information you can gain. It is priceless. It is priceless. And if it can be acquired, then it is something that most powerful individuals will acquire. They will take it. So let's continue on here. As such, we are left inferring the speed with which each banknote moves through the financial system by using the ratio of a country's economic output, GDP, to the amount of its base money supply. Additionally, given this limited understanding, Economic principles teach us to simply hold the value of velocity constant in any equation so as to focus on the impact of other variables such as money supply. But the technology, here we're going to get to what I was just talking about, but the technology behind token-based stablecoins allows us to move from the theoretical to the practical. So there doesn't have to be a theory anymore. They could actually track everything. They can actually have the information that they couldn't have before with legal tender, with paper money. They couldn't have it. Now they can have it. It's right there. Of course, they're going to issue these central bank digital currencies. So what does that mean for you and I? Whichever of these banking protocol, XRP, Algorand, XLM, Celo, whichever of these is used, even if it's an interoperable system, whichever ones we're holding has the potential to make us millionaires and billionaires. Let's continue on. But the technology behind token-based stablecoins allows us to move from the theoretical to the practical. Although Karsten's 2019 above was referencing distributed ledger technology and the classical analysis of money as it relates to historical ledger transactions, he could just as well have been discussing central bank digital currencies and the velocity of money. I just said that. Indeed, we aim to do just that. In this section, we explore the possible ramifications of a CBDC on measuring velocity, the impact of introducing CBDC on current velocity, and the possibility that technology may allow central banks to actually influence the velocity of CBDC, thus providing them with another potential channel for the transmission of monetary policy. They just iterated everything that I was just saying. Literally, as though I wrote this myself. It gives the central banks everything they didn't have and more. So they're saving more money. They're able to move money without intermediaries or too many intermediaries. They're able to save tons and tons of money, if I didn't already say that. And also they're able to accumulate a vast amount of information that can be used however they please. They'll know where the money goes, how fast it's going. They could even adjust the systems if they want to avoid certain pitfalls of too much being produced, too much being used. I don't know how they're going to do their minting system. I'm not certain with that, but they can adjust accordingly however they want. Let's continue on here. Understanding the true velocity of money. This is section 4.1 of Celo.org/paper/CBDC-velocity, their white paper for central bank digital currencies. 4.1, understanding the true velocity of money. As previously mentioned, the very notion of money velocity is entirely theoretical. Velocity is currently defined in economic theory using the following formula. Velocity equals nominal GDP over money supply. The idea behind this theory is that since we are unable to trace every banknote and count the number of times it is used to buy goods and services, we will infer money's velocity in a system by dividing the value of all goods and services produced in an economy by all of the money currently in the system. As you can see, this is clearly a very antiquated way to come up with such a calculation, right? But let's get to the new way. With CBDC, however, the velocity of money is no longer theoretical. Once again, this is what I was previously saying. They don't have to theorize anymore. With a CBDC, central banks, governments will know definitively the information that before they could only theorize. That's something that cannot be passed up. If I were a bank or if I were a government, I can't pass that up. Sort of like how when XLM has a correction, that's not something I can pass up. I must have it. Let's continue on. And because they must have it, that means potentially many of us are going to be millionaires. Sniff that money, sniff it, smell it, and billionaires. Could you even imagine? Why would you even want to miss out on the opportunity? I know I don't want to. I can't tell you what to do. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. But I do know what I'm going to do, and I can't miss out on that opportunity. Let's continue on here. We don't have to infer how many times a banknote is used, because the blockchain technology powering CBDC would allow a central bank access to real-time transactional data. Thus, every time CBDC is used to buy groceries, for example, this transaction would be available in real time. Additionally, the open source nature of the platform means that risk assessment tools for regulators focused on transaction assessments and compliance could be developed at very low fixed costs. So that's something that I didn't calculate, that I didn't think about, is the fact that not only would regulators, like I said, they can adjust however they want on the fly, on the spot, they can make adjustments, but that they can do it at such a low cost. That I forgot. As far as the aspect of regulators is concerned, when I think of low cost, I'm thinking about the banks themselves, the governments themselves, whether it's a national currency, national digital currency, or a central bank digital currency. I'm thinking when I think low cost, I think of them. I wasn't thinking of regulators, but yes, it also could mean that these particular regulators could develop these things at very low and fixed cost. That makes a lot of sense, and that makes it that much more tempting to everyone all around. Look how it's beneficial to everyone all around. Now, I do want to take the time to dispel something. There's a lot of people who are against this aspect of central bank digital currencies. But first, I like to make this statement, is that many of us are holding these particular protocols that can be utilized for central bank digital currencies because we want to make millions and billions of dollars. Not because we want to be tracked and such. We're still going to use DeFi, decentralized finance. We're still going to use crypto to do certain things and maintain our anonymity. However, the masses of society, no matter what, because CBDCs are inevitable, in my opinion, but the masses of society are still using dollars, still using the old digital system, which is pretty much like dollars, right? They're going to use central bank digital currency. So if it's inevitable, why would we not take the opportunity to make millions and billions of dollars? That doesn't mean that we are pro tracking everything. No, if I want to go grocery shopping, I can use XLM. By that time, I'm pretty sure they're going to have so many different crypto cards, credit cards, debit cards, maybe even a few crypto banks and such like that. And then if you still want your privacy, you can still use decentralized finance, depending on how regulatory clarity is gained, but you can still use XRP, I'm pretty sure, XLM, and I believe crypto is not going anywhere, although it will be whittled down to the ones that have utility, that have functionality. But I don't think that DeFi, decentralized finance, and anonymity is going anywhere, but only a select few will probably be using it. The masses of society are going to continue to use what is provided to them by the central banks and by the governments. That's the way it has been, and it's the way that I see things continuing on in the future. So because of that, while we have the opportunity, I'm going to purchase all of these banking coins as much as I can, so that way, if it does go parabolic, and I believe that they will, a true parabolic run with banking money of the likes of which you have never seen. Never seen. So I'm going to use them to get very, very, very rich. And some of you are too. Oh man, some of you are going to be even richer than I am. I have to catch up. Let's go. Let's continue forward here, everyone. Thus, every time CBDC, oh, we already read that. Let's continue on here. Understanding the true velocity of money as it pertains to CBDC would become practical for central banks. More importantly, as Burgos and Botavia 2018 note, having access to historical transaction data, especially the ability to observe the economy's response to shocks or policy changes almost immediately and more accurately, would be extremely valuable, especially from a macroeconomic stability perspective. That is key and important. That's something that even I didn't fathom, that because you can look back in history and look at what's going on present day in relation to any type of shock to the economic system, that now you're able to make adjustments, predictions that you were not previously able to make on that scale. Okay, so we looked at the scale the other way, but this is going a completely different direction. That is very interesting, and I believe that also could be key, something I'm going to look into a little bit deeper, but makes it that much more delicious for central banks and governments to work with a central bank digital currency. So I believe with all that I have laid out, all of this time, all of these videos, which many of them are about central bank digital currencies, that we have enough data compiled to know that, yes, central bank digital currencies are going to be something major, that them being built on the blockchain is what is best, and that when the implementation happens with regulatory clarity, many of these crypto protocol, the banking coins, stand to have insane parabolic runs, and we know what we hold. That's important. We know what we hold. No correction can cause me to sell. Not going to happen. Holding on for dear life. You're going to have to pry these crypto protocol out of my dead hands, and they're not going to ever touch the internet until I'm ready to sell. Until I'm ready to sell. They won't even touch the internet. But I am holding my XLM. No correct. The bigger the correction, the better. I'll buy more. I'll buy more. I'm going to go to work, earn a little bit more money, and buy more. That's just what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do the same, because no money I spend is damaging to me when it comes to crypto. And I don't believe anyone should ever invest money that's going to be damaging to them. Okay? But that's just what I'm doing. Accumulating as much algo, XRP, and XLM as I can. Each leg down is better for me. Better. I'm happier. Buying more. Because it doesn't change the inevitable rise. We have seen nothing. $1.30. That's nothing. That is nothing. Small stuff. When the banks get involved, you will see rises. You will see rises of the likes of which you couldn't even believe. And I don't think anything will rival that. I don't think anything will rival that. Of course, this is all based in potentiality, but we're going by potentiality that is angled by all of the data that we have compiled, of course. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Once again, thank you to everyone out there for making comments, supporting the channel, for sending me emails. I have read some of them. I have been very busy lately. I haven't been able to reply to many things, but I thank you greatly. I do. And until next time, let's get to the money.